Thank you, Ashley. I remember that was 3 years ago in the film festival. I was really impressed by Ashley's interviewing skills. So I was quite impressed by her back then. But anyway, we reconnected. Um, I'm a little background about myself. My family immigrated from Hong Kong about many years ago. We immigrated to Manitoba, where I grew up most of the time, elementary school, junior high, and high school, university. Then I came over to Regina to work for the last 30 years. And I feel that like Tom said, I have to get out of this box, this North American box. So that's what I did. I like to travel because I just have a curiosity about the world in which we live. During my youth, I actually had a subscription to the National Geographic magazine. I mean, I love those pictures and those intriguing stories. And the stories were just amazing of places that were in all corners of this earth. But I really wanted to go there, but I was fearful. I was fearful of the language. I don't speak the language. I was fearful of, I don't have any friends, contacts, relatives there. So it's holding me back. And this past winter, I put all my fear into a challenge. I said to myself, I'm going to go. I bought a one-way ticket to Lima, Peru, with all my possession in a backpack. And I go there because of one thing, one article, which I read years and years ago. It was about South America. It was about this place in the country of Peru, the Machu Picchu, an ancient settlement perched on top of the hill, some 8,000 feet above sea level. I was really impressed with that article, and I met so many friends from there. One of my workers actually was born there. We had those singers coming to our company to sing, those Peruvian musicians with their pipes. Anyway, so I got there, but the day before I left, the hostel called me up and saying, would you like to have a taxi pickup at the airport? And I found that kind of strange because they normally don't do that. Reluctantly, I said yes, and I was hoping that there would be other travelers to share the cost, share the taxi. But no, I was the only passenger in the taxi. And my whole week's budget was gone. And the ride from the airport to the historical area of Lima was about 45 minutes long. And my first impression of Lima, old, run-down city with a lot of people. And the hostel I was in was located in a very nice heritage building with high ceilings. I checked into a room with about 11 other travelers. We all have bunk beds. The hostel has a lot of activities which the travelers can engage in. I participated in cooking class. So we all went out to shop for ingredients for this dish called ceviche, which is the national dish of Peru. And it is just mainly raw fish cooked in lime juice. And it was good. We tasted it too. The next day, I participated in shopping for exotic South American fruits and vegetables. So we tasted that too. It was wonderful. There were yoga classes. I got to meet fellow travelers, and we introduced each other. We trade travel stories, and it was fun. I befriended an American pensioner who his name was Tom. He inherited a pile of money from his family, so it was his first trip to Lima. He and I just kicked it off. We went shopping for groceries, we cooked together, we ate together, we went out to art galleries, went to museums, and one day we decided to go to the beach. Yes. And we wanted to take a bus. The bus in Lima has its own lane in the middle of the street. So we have to cross the street, go on the platform onto the bus. It was fun. You know, it was a great outing. We had local food in local restaurants. We walked on the beach. And this part of Lima is very prosperous. It's not like the historical part, which is really poor. There were modern buildings. There were high rises. And it was nice. The district is called Mia Flora. After that, we had a couple beers and we went back. We took the bus back. And this is what happened. We walk on the bridge, across the road, we pay our bus fare, we step on the platform, and just then a bus pulled to the platform. Tom ran towards the bus. I ran after him. He stepped into the bus, and my left foot stepped onto the bus, and the door closed on my foot. And I thought, oh yes, well, the door will open eventually. No, the bus was actually moving forward. I said, surely somebody's going to shout to the driver to stop the car or bus. But the bus was packed with people. It was noisy. Nobody could hear anything. So there was this montage of a bus pulling my body, dragging my body through the streets of Lima. Using all my strength, I yanked my foot out of the trapdoor and I was free. So the lesson here is to be alert and, and to take some action. So a few days later, I decided to go to Machu Picchu. That's where I want to go. I invited Tom to come with me, but he declined because he has bad lungs. And he couldn't cope with the altitude sickness. You see, that part of Peru is about 12,000 feet above sea level, and people suffer from hypoxia. There's only about 60% oxygen up there, and also dehydration. So we said goodbye. The next day, I took a 21-hour bus ride from Lima to Cusco. That turned out to be 24 hours because of a traffic accident on the highway. A semi kind of hit the curve and rolled over. So I arrived in Cusco about, in the late evening. It was dark, and the hostel was only about 3 kilometers away. I could have walked. So I picked up my backpack. I walked 1 step, 2 steps, and 3 steps, and my body was just tired. And all my muscles were aching. And just then, a taxi pulled in, asked me if I want to ride. I said, yeah. and I even gave the taxi driver a big tip. I got into my hostel, I checked in, I dragged myself into bed, and I slept, and I slept, and I slept. And then in the middle of the night, I woke up with this banging headache. It's almost like a hangover. That's the result of, I guess, dehydration. So it was easy to do, drink some water, take some acetaminophen. I was well. The next day I was okay. I went out for a walk. But I couldn't walk too far because of hypoxia and dehydration. I walked 3 steps, I'm tired. I walked up 3 stairs, and I just have to catch my breath. That's how bad it was, the altitude sickness. It's kind of a fun experience because it, it was. It was like time travel into the future, where I feel old and decrepit. I knew how I feel now. And after that incident, at the end of the week, I felt better, and I got somewhat acclimatized, so it was okay. And I planned my trip to Machu Picchu, and there were like hundreds of companies, tour groups offering trips from camping, trekking, whitewater rafting to biking. And I didn't want any of that. I want to visit the archaeological ruins in the sacred valley of the Incas. So in order to do that, I have to take local transportation to each one of the villages, to Pisac, to Urubamba, Chinchero, Ollantaytambo, Aguas Caliente, and then to Machu Picchu. And the catch here is local transportation. Local transportation is called colectivo, and there are collectivos to all parts of Peru. It's a 12-passenger van that operated privately, that only the locals knew where they are. Me, I have no idea where it is. I Google it on Google Maps. It showed me a location. I went to that location, of course. Nothing is there. So I spoke to a shopkeeper, I spoke to a driver, I spoke to a policeman. I finally found the location. It was wonderful. I found the location. Then I kind of, you know how to use Google, right? You kind of print a screen, so the map is there for tomorrow. So I went back to my hostel. The next day, I tried to find that location. Of course, I was walking in circles. The thing about that was, there was just too many maps. You know, Google Map, my print screen map or print capture map, and so I was confused. I was confused of all these maps. So the second lesson is to purge all this old, outdated information so it won't confuse you. That was my second lesson. The rest of the trip went really smoothly. I really enjoyed the archaeological ruins on top of the hills. They were just spectacular, and they were 12,000 feet higher above sea level, whereas in Machu Picchu, it was only about 8,000 feet. And also Machu Picchu is much wetter and moist than the rest of in the Sacred Valley. After that, my next destination was to go to Patagonia, the extreme southern tip of Chile and Peru. I don't know how to get there. I don't know when I will get there, but I will get there somehow. By talking with fellow travelers, I was able to plan my route through Bolivia, where I visited the highest lake on earth, which is Lake Titicaca, also very sacred. I was able to go to visit the capital, which was La Paz, and I visited the salt flat of Uyuni, and then also rode on top of the Andes, which was 14,000 feet above sea level. If you want to experience hypoxia, go there. just give you a little hint. Nobody could sleep. We would just, okay, tell this little hint. The oxygen level at 14,000 feet is 50%. If you're sleeping, one of your nose is plugged, is down to 25%. If you're lying flat on your back, your diaphragm is not pulling up, from 25% is 12.5%. So go figure. From there, I crossed the border to Chile, where I visited the deserts, the San Pedro de Atacama. It was really an out of the world experience. It was almost like the moon. It was a really nice place. Went down to the capital, Santiago, and I also went down to Chiloé, an island national park down south. There I flew to Patagonia, the southern tip of Chile, Puerto Arnas, Puerto Natales. And that's where I started my Patagonia trekking, hiking trip. It's a 3-week, it was 3 weeks. I didn't plan this, believe me. 8 or 9 hours a day trekking in this wonderful, beautiful mountainous area of southern Chile and Argentina. So the first place I went was a place called Torres del Paine National Park in South, and there were like thousands of people there, 12 bus every morning. It was a wonderful place. It's just, it's like Jasper and Banff. And then I crossed the border into Argentina. I trekked through the mountainous region in El Chalten, which is called the Fitzroy Mountains region. It's really amazing. Then I trekked all the mountains range all the way up to Bariloche. I tell you, the lesson there is to really appreciate the beauty that this earth has to offer. And then from there, I flew to Buenos Aires, and I added one more destination because all my travel friends suggested this place, which is the world's widest waterfall. I thought Niagara Falls was everything. I mean, I don't want to see another waterfall. But she showed me some pictures. I said, okay, I'm going. And luckily, I got a really cheap flight, but I had to stay there for a whole week. Anyway, that's not the story. After Iguazu, I flew back to Canada. That was it. That was my trip. That was really an unforgettable trip. It was just amazing. Just unfold in front of me. I didn't plan it. I didn't do anything. Just came. So we often are held back by our fears. So challenge yourself, and something wonderful and amazing will happen.